Good morning. Welcome to episode 24 of the Yarn Ambassador podcast. My name is Charlie, and you can find me as Yarn Ambassador on Instagram and here on YouTube. And I also manage the accounts for Charlie Button Yarns, which is my very local British breed sheep, British breed yarn, British breed, for God's sake, British breed sheep yarn brand, got there, and natural dyeing company. So, and also Cranky Lady, which is my yarn tube cranking service that I work with my very vintage circular sock machine to help transform those languishing sock yarns into tubes, which can then be created hand finished into socks or cowls or mitts or all sorts of things. So that's where you'll find me all over the internet. It's been a very quiet knitting week this week. I have been busy doing all sorts of other things, it seems. The only knitting I've managed to get done this week is to put some heels, no, some toes and some cuffs into one of those sock tubes. And this is probably going to be for the socks for West Midlands ambulance service, which our very good friend Jeanette is set herself challenge of knitting socks for the West Midlands ambulance service, of which her daughter is one of the team there. And there are about 500 of them, so we've all kind of galvanised ourselves to help Jeanette reach that goal. And Ange of the Yarn and Yarns podcast asked any of her viewers if they had any spare sock yarn lying around that she would help transform into socks for that. And I said to Ange that if she got loads in, then I would help her turn those into socks by cranking tubes for her. And so earlier this week, I received an enormous box with some very nice, and a tea as well, thanks Ange. The lovely people from Ange's podcast had donated, and I'm currently in the middle of cranking those into tubes that I'll send back to Ange, and she's going to put heels, toes and cuffs in them. We've got a year for this, so, and we've got a lot of socks to get through, so hopefully we'll make it. But that's been a really fun project. Also, in that box of goodies that came from Ange, I got two little things I wanted to tell you about. The first was Ange, in a very clever manoeuvre. It's like she knows her audience very well. Ange has a online and physical yarn shop, and she runs a range of accessories from a designer called Emma Ball, a British designer who has really understood what it is that knitters like. And there are these adorable little note cards, which have got little puffins in knitted jumpers on them. Look at them, aren't they gorgeous? And I couldn't resist those. And then there's also this little notebook, which is really great for projects, and particularly if I'm writing designs down. This is just great. It's got the squared pieces on this side and then just the lined ones. So that's really helpful for writing down notes when I'm putting designs together, and it's got some really interesting, helpful reference stuff at the beginning. So I couldn't resist picking up those. So those arrived in the box as well. And then also Andrew's got some new sock yarn in from Opal, which is called Opal Beauty. And it has Edelweiss and vitamin E extract somehow kind of infused into the yarn. And I think, and this is just a beautiful colourway with kind of dark charcoals and pinks. Probably end up going to look something like that, maybe. So I got that for myself. It's interesting that they've gone down this kind of infusing the yarn with something idea, because this one that I'm actually working on, I don't know if you remember, I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, was a brand called Austermann? Where is it? Yeah, Austermann Step. And I was quite excited by this one because this has been infused with aloe vera and jojoba oil. So it looks like all the German commercial sock yarn people are jumping on this infusion aspect. And it says that it should remain within the socks for, you know, at least a couple of washes. And also it's, you know, pleasant for when you're working with it. Although I'm sure the cranky lady, the circular sock machine, really appreciates that, because I'm not actually handling this yarn that much at all, but oh well, it'll be all the nicer on the feet. So that was a really lovely parcel to receive this week. And another lovely parcel I got was from lovely Jenny. So I think you'll have seen from other podcasts that there's a group of us who each year, well, we were trying to make it a tradition. Last year we met up, the 7 of us, and for a weekend, our own kind of retreat, if you'd like, and we decided to do a sock swap. So we threw everybody's names in the hat and knitted each other, one other person, a pair of socks. And even though we couldn't meet up this year, we wanted to continue with that tradition and kind of connect ourselves. And mine have arrived from Jenny, and she has made this amazing pair of socks. Look at that, beautiful, with a gradient at the top. I think she knows I like grey. And she said she knitted these from a sock blank, a double-stranded sock blank, so they are perfectly matching, which makes me very happy, because even though most of my life is slightly chaotic, when it comes to socks, I really like them to match. What's more is Jenny created a design on these which was especially for me, and it might be a little bit hard to see, but she has put on here, there are 6 little sheep heads, and I'll put in a picture so you can see it a bit better, rather than me trying to hold it up on here. But she put in this little design with 6 sheep heads to represent the ladies whose fleece goes into Charlie Button yarns. There are 3 Jacobs and 3 Rylands in the next door field, and they were the ones that kind of kicked off Charlie Button yarns. So those are just fabulous and so thoughtful and so unique. We're hoping Jenny's going to be releasing that pattern very soon. So I haven't managed to do much knitting, but I've still managed to get a new pair of socks out of it, which is fabulous. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was the Charlie Button yarn advent calendars for 2021. Now I know, we are only just in March. How are we talking about Christmas already? But I so enjoyed my yarn advent calendar in 2020 that I wanted to kind of share that, pass that forward. So I have put together some yarn advent calendars, and I've got a couple of options. I'll show you the prototype of what it looks like. Now obviously I haven't got them finished just yet, because it's quite a lot of work to do 24 different yarns. It's going to be a mixture of British breed 4-ply minis and naturally dyed 4-ply minis on that Texel base. So I have a Texel 4-ply base, again local fleece to me, and so I've been doing some natural dyeing to kind of get a variety. And what you will get is a box that looks something like this. Might look a little bit different. I might try and do something a little bit more designy. But then you get 24 little packages that you can open each day from the 1st of December through to Christmas Day. And each little package is closed up I haven't worked out if I'm going to put a specific order on them, or you just pick whichever one you like. Now, there are a couple that I have left open to give you a little bit of a flavour, a little bit of a taste of what might be coming. So this is a yellowy green. This was dyed with ivy leaves. It's not the best colour representation because I'm in a very dark cottage. So that's one type. Let me see what else we've got in here to let you know the kind of things. Now, obviously, because these are natural dyes, you're not going to get hot fuchsias. Look, there's a kind of browny, yellowy. That was actually a grey that was over-dyed with a greeny yellow. So that's come out a beautiful brown. So because these are either British breed yarns that are totally undyed, or they are the Texel which have been naturally dyed, the palette you're going to get is going to be quite muted. It's going to be natural colours. There are going to be a lot of yellows and greens and oranges and browns and some greys in there. So if you like neons and hot pinks and, you know, bright zingy electric blues, you won't find that in this colourway. And I've been doing a lot of walking in the Lancashire fells around here, and the colours remind me of the landscape around here. You get kind of mossy oranges, mossy browns, pale yellows. So it looks kind of, when I look at the moorland and the heathland that we've been walking on, it kind of reminds me of the colours that are coming out of my pots. So I'll put in a couple of pictures so that you can see what the colour palette might be. I'm doing quite well at the moment. I've got, I think, 16 or 17 of the 24 already dyed up. In fact, I've got some in the dye pot just at the moment. A very seasonal one. I saw that you can dye with daffodil petals, and I happened to be in a large supermarket last week and saw that bunches of daffodils were going for like 40p each or something. They looked absolutely fine, so I pretty much bought up every one of the 40p bunches of daffodils and had a glorious explosion of yellow and flowers in my house for a week, and then they were looking pretty sad towards the end of the week, so I've kind of deadheaded them and popped those in the dye pot, and we'll see what colour comes out of them. So that's exciting. So there are still a few more to do, but I'm now at a stage where I feel confident that I will hit 24 different yarns and colourways. So how is this going to work? So these ones I've just showed you here are 5 grams of 4-ply. So you will get 24 times 5 gram minis, which is 140 grams, all in all. So a lot, I will also have one with 10 gram minis in them. So you'll get 240 grams in total. And so I wanted to offer kind of a blowout option and also a kind of a more accessible option. I know a lot of work goes into yarn advents, and that's kind of reflected in the price of them. But I did want to make sure that they weren't only going to be for the blowout ones. So the 5 gram mini advent will be £65, and the 10 gram mini advent will be £85. As with all my other Charlie Bottom yarns, these will be on sale with Ange at Yarn and Yarns. Now, because of the way Charlie Bottom Yarns works, there is a very limited number, of each of those options. So I'm telling you here and now, those will be made live in Ange's shop at 6 p.m. UK time on Friday the 12th of March. So that's next Friday. These, once they're gone, they're gone. However, when we get later in the year, and once I've picked up this year's clip, and if I get that kind of processed and done in time, there is a potential I might add more later in the year. And if you're interested, and if you've missed out on these, you can contact me or Ange and kind of express your interest, and we can put you on a waiting list, or make sure that you're up to date with anything that comes later in the year. So I'm really quite excited about this. It's been lovely. So each weekend I've been dyeing up a different little mini to go in this. That's one I dyed up last, which is a very kind of pale minty green. But actually that was too close to a colour that I already had, so I've actually put that to one side, maybe for a future advent. Who knows? The 5-gram minis work really well for something smaller projects, something like the woolly paper chain party that you can see behind me. That was what I did with my 5-gram mini yarn advent just gone. I also have a cowl pattern, a free cowl pattern, which will work with either 10-gram or 5-gram minis. There's lots you can do with it. Scrappy projects, any advent projects, it should work. I've never made socks out of my Charlie Button yarns because there is no nylon in them. They are 100% plastic free. That's one of the things that I like about them. But the textile seems pretty hard wearing, so I'm sure you could give it a go and make scrappy socks out of them. So that's what I wanted to update you on. I'll put in a couple of pictures here. The packaging looks slightly different to what I've just shown you, but the contents is the same. And so I think that's all I had to talk to you about this morning. I hope you're all well. I'm going to leave you with a view of a shepherdess and her sheep heading up onto the uplands in Lancashire. We were out for a walk yesterday and came across this kind of stream of sheep being led up the fell. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're well. It's nearly spring. Hang on in there, everybody, and look after yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye.